Hey, Josh here. I just got back from the 9 o'clock showing of the new 2014 Godzilla movie. And let me just start off by saying this is going to be the spoiler filled review. So if you're trying to avoid plot details, surprises, whatnot, immediately change to my spoiler free review. But yeah, I just saw this 9 o'clock show, like I said, at Harkins Mineral Valley. And let's just say this, I am one fucking ecstatic Godzilla fan because it was just goddamn epic in like every way possible. So I guess I'll start with the basics. The cast was they did their part very well. Aaron Taylor Johnson was great. Ken Watanabe was great. Elizabeth Olsen was had a very well done performance. Bryan Cranston Bryan Cranston is actually in the movie for a lot shorter than the trailers would suggest, but what we do see is very emotional and very well done. I mean, I just can't complain. He served his role as much as he could, and that was basically his role in the story. He was example to his son. Aaron Taylor Johnson plays his son, and then once he passes, the torch basically falls to Aaron Taylor Johnson character. Basically who has to become the main hero of the story. So, basic human performances that we got out of the way right now, just spectacular in my opinion. I have nothing to complain about. You'll be very emotionally invested in human characters overall. It'll be nothing like the messes created in 1998. So with that human aspect out of the way, very well done. I'm going to get to the next thing, which I guess I'll handle the next thing. The score by Alexandre Desplat. I'm not sure I say his last name, unfortunately. Desplat. I'm pretty sure you don't say Desplat, but I'm just going to say Desplat. Mr. Alexandra. Alexander, it was a very bombastic score. None of the techno crap you saw in Amazing Spider-Man 2. It was just nice, classic, bombastic orchestra, and it carried the movie all the way. And it's playing sad themes too to fit the mood. It was just incredibly well done. Definitely a soundtrack I'm going to actually personally take the time to go buy. And, yeah, it was incredible. Not many hints to Ifukube, actually, but I'm actually very pleased about that. I mean, they really just made it their own movie. It's not just a tribute fodder type movie, like Predators. This actually stands on its own as an actually really good movie. And it's very original in a lot of ways. So, moving on, I guess the most obvious thing, what I think of Godzilla and the Mutos. First off, the Mutos are basically one of my top favorite monsters now in all of the Godzilla series. They have personality. The designs, despite the toys, are very detailed and very menacing and just very well emotionally rounded creatures for the movie. Very lifelike. And despite all worries people had, they were actually fantastic opponents for Godzilla. They put up quite a fight. And I just gotta say, it's one of my favorite fight scenes now in all of the series, basically. Very well handled. And the biology of the Mutos and just the way they're handled in the story, really greatly done. Just loved it. As for the big man himself, Godzilla, Gojira, what can I say? I had the biggest smile on my face. I wanted to stand up and cheer when they first revealed him, which it's like Godzilla 1985 or Return of Godzilla, Japanese title. You start from the foot and you just go up to his face and he just roars right at you. It just made my heart pound. Once you see this new Godzilla in action, it'll blow your mind. The eyes, the way the skin looks, the way he moves, and oh my god, the atomic breath was just incredible. It was fantastic. It just blew my mind. What can I say? There's not much more I can say, but it just blew me away. Oh my god. I work a few hours. Basically like 2 hours from now, but I must get this review out there to just really publicize the movie on my own personal conquest. But Godzilla was looked fantastic. His performance, and unlike what people are probably expecting, he's not actually he's not a GMK like villain, just killing everything in his path. Even though a lot of people in this movie, and I can almost guiltily say, many people do die in this movie. Of course, when true giant monsters are fighting, people are bound to be casualties, and military and civilian alike, people are getting it left and right. It is very nice to see they kept with it realistically. But yeah, Godzilla's basically, he's like he was in the Heisei series, basically. Neither good nor evil. He's, as the movie says, a bringer of balance, the alpha predator. And that's what I love about this movie. They treated the monsters like they were just really big animals. And even though they were godlike in the way they acted and the impact they had in society, they were still, at most, fulfilling animal-like instincts. And Godzilla basically was just, a god bringing balance to the world that was now in chaos. Once his job was done, he was on his way, and I just loved his role in the movie. He was jaw-dropping. If I were to describe it, I would just call it ah. AWE, ah. That's how much it just impressed me. And let me say this. If you've seen Gareth Edwards' previous movie, Monsters, which I loved, then you'll get why he does the things he does in this movie. Because this is one of the very big spoilers for people. The first few fights, actually, all you get is the reveal of the creatures. Basically Godzilla. You see a lot of the Mutos early on. He doesn't tease you with that. But with Godzilla, you are teased the shit out of, You see the typhoon coming. You see him finally in an epic reveal. But you do not see the fights for quite some time. At first, people were probably a bit thrown off by that. But then I realized, if he gave us a straight 2 hours of just battling, then it wouldn't really live up to what all the other Godzilla movies in the past 50, 60 years have been. I mean, Godzilla movies have always been movies based on story, where honestly Godzilla does not show up until usually the first 30, 40 minutes. And if you're talking something like Godzilla vs. King Ghidorah in 1991, you won't see him until the last like 40 minutes of the movie. So no, you see Godzilla early on, but as for actual full-on combat, which you do still get a lot of, I must say the battles are incredible. They really give Godzilla a run for his money. But the full-on fighting does not start at the airport as one originally thought. You're going to see it a little later in the movie, basically once they hit San Francisco. But once they do, it's epic. But he spends a lot of time teasing you, make sure you invest in the story. And that's the way thing. The story is very well paced, very well written. You're very connected to what's going on without it feeling really forced and melodramatic, I guess you could say, because it just flows naturally, and there's a lot for both the human characters and for the monsters to do. And I think emotionally, you'll be invested on both sides, the monsters and the human characters. And that's just really how well it was put together. Gareth Edwards he knows how to handle a movie, what can I say? And no, don't actually have to credits like I did, unless you want to do his music again, which I also enjoyed. But there's no end credits bullshit like Marvel, like, oh, here comes King Ghidorah. No. It pretty much ends solidly on its own as a movie on its own. But the way it was, I can definitely tell it's going to lead up to maybe even a trilogy, which I would really love to see some of the classic monsters. And in case anyone's wondering about the origin of Godzilla in this one, it's really not tough to explain, but basically him and the Mutos come from a period on Earth where there was a lot more radiation, and basically, as I said before, Godzilla is a balance to the more parasitic and destructive life forms like the Mutos, who are resurrected because of mankind, and then Godzilla follows in pursuit, basically almost saving mankind from themselves. And You know what? Military attacks, Muto attacks, but Godzilla holds them all off, and it's just spectacular. The heat ray, atomic breath, whatever you want to call it, was just sexy. The final kill. I mean, Godzilla uses his tail, atomic breath, everything in this movie to make it just really badass. Oh, I just love this movie. I'm definitely gonna see this at least 3 or 4 more times this weekend alone. I would highly recommend everyone to go see it. Casual fan and Godzilla hardcore fans alike. Really go see it. I mean, to me, people may point out they wanted a full-on Transformers Dark of the Moon esque type of shenanigans with Godzilla just in your face 24/7. But I just love the way it was done. It was very tasteful, yet when it delivered, it delivered. The action was hard and heart pounding. The visuals were astounding. The effects were just great. Music was solid. Cinematography was badass. They knew what they were doing when they were shooting Godzilla. And human characters are very nicely done as well. So, definitely giving this a 10 out of 10 for me. Flawless, pretty much. And I would definitely recommend everyone go see New Godzilla. It's gonna be the best, if not one of the best movies for the whole franchise. Josh, Godzilla fan, signing off.